morning, everyone, and a happy Tuesday to you. I'm joined by the one, the only Beecham, Chief Market Analyst. How are you?
I'm all right. Cold and wet from the weather.
I know, it was
it's
just
horrible, isn't it?
horrid.
I had to move a branch out my way on the road this morning on the way to work, which shows you how far out I live. But I was driving down the lane, I was confronted by a branch across the road, so I had to get out of my car.
This as you crank up the car.
Yeah, and then I had to start the car again. Yeah. One of those Charlie Chaplin ones, or is it Charlie Chaplin? Buster Keaton. But yeah, so that was fun, as well as it being cold and wet. Too cold and windy to have my umbrella up as well. So
yeah, I hope you're nice and toasty. I know
Apart from
Brian
that-
Tuck is nice and toasty all the way from Thailand.
must be nice.
IR 300, nice for some. Good morning to you as well. And Derek, good morning, everyone. What an exciting day it is, because so much in the way of earnings. Also, markets continue this interesting grind up relative to what's happening around at the moment. Geopolitics, tariffs, no less. Let's have a look.
sorry.
So still looking early on in the session, risk on there. Let's have a look at the FTSE, Chris.
What's going on with her this morning?
Yeah, so let's have a look at the gainers first.
Let's look at the gainers. Don't look at the chart. Look at the gainers. Sage Group. It's always a funny morning at the moment when you don't see Fresnillo and Endeavour Mining at the top of the FTSE 100, because it just makes a change after.
Not for me. I like them being up there.
Yeah, well, it's so often the case, really. It's more often than not miners at the top. But yeah, Sage Group this morning after a decent set of numbers today, which I think I'm trying to remember what we saw from them, but they had. This is preparation for you, is
Whilst you're
everything
looking
really.
at that-
Strong start to FY26. I apologise. First quarter revenue up 10% of double-digit growth across all regions, and guidance reiterated. So that's a good start from them. And banks as well. So you've got HSBC and then NatWest there. But I suppose HSBC maybe taking a cue from the strong session in Asia overnight. I think probably the one to look at. MSCI X Japan.
Because they did
strongly
have
higher.
quite a good show in Asia overnight. And we are seeing that slight risk on coming across to Europe as well. I'm really surprised that we haven't got a bit more of caution out there, but they still seem to be...
Markets climb a wall of worry, and so that's what they do.
But, you know, markets are a bit crazy, a bit cuckoo bananas right now as well.
Well, so is everybody at the moment. I think after the January we've had, and it is still only January.
It is.
Given what's
We're
gone
not
on
even in
over the
February
past
just
4
yet.
weeks. It has been a month of a lot of movement, really. You've had natural gas on an absolute tear. You've had oil prices up and down.
Silver and gold.
Silver, we have to. Do silver and gold, have they moved recently? I think they've had a quite a good run, fairly good run recently. Silver up another 8% this morning. Although, of course, it was a bit of a gyration. If you see, I don't know if I've got my chart in front of me there on the 30-minute chart. There's your slump from 6 o'clock yesterday from $117. I have to remind myself it's priced above 100 now, to 103 in the space of a couple of hours. But again, volatility is a given with silver. You have to assume this kind of thing happening. It barely registers on the chart at the moment, but certainly, as we were saying with Axel last week, that gap between where the price is, where the 50-day moving average is, those gaps usually get closed at some point. The distance, rather, this isn't obviously a gap in price terms, but the distance between the one and the other, they tend to get filled. And with silver, the possibility is still there that you have another pullback. We haven't had a proper one since mid-October when we dropped, well, a mere $9. We did that yesterday in an hour or so. But it has been a while since the last one. So I can't tell you when it's going to arrive, but you feel like one is overdue.
And Axel and I spoke about this yesterday as well. If you've traded commodities and metals long enough, you'll know that silver is the one that can really turn your hair white.
Yes.
Out of all of the metals. So have your gloves on. You'd be very, very brave to short silver. I know some of you out there are shorting. Very brave indeed. I am not in that camp. I am currently still... When charts go, have you heard the saying, when charts go parabolic, it's time to position slowly out?
No, is that because you just made it up? Or is
No,
it?
no.
It's a wise word. No, the great Walter Deemer, the US stock trader.
Start stepping out of that party very slowly. You don't want to just like do the, I've lived in so many different countries, I'm going to say the wrong thing now. I often get these stares and they go, oh, that does not translate the same way in Australia as it does here. or the US.
It can be very dangerous.
It can be very dangerous, but you're kind of edging out, right? If the party is already in full flow, you don't want to like just disappear and the host goes, where is she?
No, exactly. You don't have to go all in at once, nor do you have to go all out all at once just to get. But as the Walter Dean of the US stock traders, their 50 years in market says, parabolic advances usually go further than you think, and that certainly is true for silver, but they don't correct by going sideways. So, in fact, that's Bob Farrell. It's not Walter Dean, it's Bob Farrell, his rule.
Farrell.
So there we go.
You had a new forecast as well when you were miking up. A new forecast for silver or gold?
A new forecast?
You said, oh, there's a new forecast, new estimate out there. It'll come to me. I thought, that's interesting.
Oh, Robert Kiyosaki had Rich Dad, Poor Dad, who odd chap really, but has a target of $27,000 for gold. So make of that what you will. I will flag that gold made the BBC business front page yesterday, which, bless them, can often be a slightly contrarian indicator. Usually by the time it makes it onto the media for normal people, shall we say, rather than market obsessives, often the move has happened. It certainly was famously in February 2016, and it's a long time ago now, but when they were talking about oil going to single digits and it made the front page of the BBC, that was when oil bottomed. That's not to say it will happen, but it's kind of similar to the Economist front cover indicator. Once it gets to the front page of the Economist, it's no longer the story.
I like it's similar to the cab driver. If your cab is talking about it, it's
or the fabled shoeshine boy from the Great Depression giving you stock tips, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Puma is riding higher. Just quickly looking at that because it is flashing on my screen. Puma, woof! Look at that. They're up some 20%. It's come back down and eased off that, but I'm just showing you the chart there to show you that move. And this is after Antisport says it's going to buy a stake for 1.8 billion there. So we've been waiting on this deal. I'm sure you've heard Rich talk about this ad nauseum. But yeah, it's finally happened. 1.8 billion is that figure there.
I usually tune out when he starts talking about trading because I've no idea. It's well beyond my circle of competence.
Chris has got very, very clean, well shined.
Only clean because I walked through puddles this morning.
Leather shoes. Yeah, so we got others too out with earnings. We have ASML, of course. Let's have a look at ASML. Here we are, and ASML is currently down. This is the 24-hour offering that we have, down 0.5%. Of course, you can also take a position in the Dutch listed stock. ASML here hitting record high on this AI boost. And what's also interesting about this company is that it comes in a time when we've got all those tech earnings incoming from the big AI.
Tomorrow starts off tomorrow, yes, exactly.
Meta, Microsoft, Apple. Have I missed any?
Not for tomorrow, no. And Tesla, although obviously it's not so important with chips, but so they kick off the Mag 7.
Yeah. And just remember, lots and lots of investors out there wanting, I mean, we've talked about this since October 2024, but lots and lots of investors now starting to question, all this money that's being poured in because they want to see return on investment.
Yes, it was the discussion we were having yesterday. Is it market happier or less unhappy, shall we say, if they announce that they haven't done as well in terms of earnings, or that they announce that they're putting more money into spending, which worries people less, really. Because I think the nagging fear is that the money continues to be funneled to all this spending, to the data centers, to chips, and yet the payoff isn't there yet, or at least signs aren't entirely there, and that's partly driving the bubble fear. We've not had a good bubble fear sell-off for about 2 months, so I think we are kind of overdue that as well, because people have been oddly calm about tech stocks over the last 6 weeks. Nasdaq not yet back at a record high, but certainly not far away from one this morning, and doing quite well in early trading, as you can see, which of course has been the laggard actually. The Russell 2000s surged to a new high of late. Tech stocks, they're not calling them Mag 7, they call them the Lag 7 now, which is probably a sign that sentiment has flipped nicely on them, but they've had a bit of a rough start to the year overall for them. So perhaps this is the moment where it flips and you get the rotation that we did have for the last 2 weeks goes back again.
Yep. What's also interesting is look at the Russell 2000. That has been on a real nice run there. I agree with you. We are overdue a bubble worry. We should have one now. I wonder if it's because TSMC, the world's biggest contract chip maker, came out saying that they had blowout earnings, and maybe that just kind of has delayed it a bit.
Yeah, that's quite possibly the cue. So yes, year to date, Apple is down 6%, Tesla's down, Microsoft's down, Amazon's still up 3%, whereas the indices themselves, the S&P, the Dow, the Nasdaq, and of course the Russell as well, up 7% so far this year. So the Mag 7 are not having the most positive start to the year you can imagine, which is notable.
The other thing that I find the market a bit complacent, can I use that word? Complacent about is the fact that, I'm so glad Chris is here because I'm going to try and trigger him. Apparently the Armada has arrived in the Middle East.
Yes, Trump's Armada. It's one carrier battle group has arrived.
So John Mayer, you hear me saying this quite often because I feel a bit vindicated. A week and a half ago, before Davos, was laughing at me because I was looking for satellite images to show me where USS Abraham Lincoln was. And prior to Davos, it was, according to my sources in Asia, still in Asia and not moving anywhere very fast. And so now it has, I don't know whether you can see my screen, but I'm showing pictures there. It has found its way into the Middle East.
Do you not have that app on your phone that you can look up the ships and it tells you what they are? Ship tracker.
You can't track destroyers.
No, you can't. But ship tracker. I said ship tracker before the gallery says something else. No, but you can see other apps. You can see other ships on it. So it's quite. Anyway, so that I thought that might be what you were tracking on there, but you can see others.
There's no like flight radar for destroyers.
No, but you could say it's crossed over from one area of responsibility for the US Navy to Central Command, which is the area that encompasses the Middle East. And so what we've seen over the last 2 or 3 weeks has been this positioning of assets in the Middle East. The reports last night suggested those deployments have now been completed. A lot of it was moving in defensive assets to protect Israel and other parts of the Gulf from an Iranian retaliation. And the reports coming out of the Gulf suggest that the US has decided on something fairly substantial. Now, you remember, of course, it's 2 or 3 weeks since his help is on the way, message to the people of Iran. And then, well, reports on the Death Toll continue to rise and no action has been taken. But it looks like they have what they need in the Gulf to do whatever they want to do, according to the updates, and people are following these things.
I haven't tried tracking the vessels that need to accompany USS Abraham Lincoln, because these destroyers tend to need vessels around it to obviously protect it. But I too could not find that on radar. You can get sort of news from different sightings, which, by the way, you can pay for on the premium package on Bloomberg.
Yes. Yeah.
But you can't.
Well, you get everything on Bloomberg.
Well,
if you have the money.
What's quite funny is they have a special app which I've used before when I was working there, where it can tell you exactly what the payload was, what was in the cargo.
Ah,
yes,
that's very handy.
But
of course, you can also, there's also flight radar, which you can then track. If you are particularly into this kind of thing, you can then see when airspace is closed, and that's usually a sign as well. If the map clears,
yes,
and that's also a sign that something's about to happen, or something may well be about to happen. It's when they announce they're closing airspace.
Yeah. So a good one is when we had all those concerns prior to Davos, everyone was looking at the headlines. I was looking at precisely that over Iran. And there's this wide expanse of no planes flying across except for some of the local ones. So we have that bubbling in the background. Make sure that you are aware of this if you are trading, or at least looking at this space for some sort of edge. There is another cool indicator that if you know someone that is living in Israel, and that they get a message and they get called to reports, you're kind of 4 to 5 days away from something happening.
Yeah,
What's the rest of your day looking like, Chris?
Well, it's sort of a quiet day ahead of tomorrow, isn't it? You've got the Fed tomorrow and earnings kick off. Although we have I always feel a surge of joy when I see President Trump speaks this afternoon. So that's 7 o'clock UK time. But there's consumer confidence today, as well as the ADP weekly figure, which nobody cares about. But it's a bit of a mixed. As we say, a bit of a mixed start to the day. So you've got the VIX is back down again. I think it's worth noting after that surge last week, which failed to even reach anything like the highs of November. So again, another reversal in the VIX. And it just continues to be a very, very quiet start to the year overall. You've got the DAX recovering from its sell-off. This is what markets do. You had an overextended market, and this is what I mean about the distance between the price and maybe a 50 or 20 preferred 20-day moving average. This is the 50 in this case. But when you've got the price up here and moving average down here, that distance tends to be filled up at some point, often with the price reversing as this did. So you had 2 weeks or so, no, a week of declines in the DAX, took us down to the 50-day moving average, 24,500. We've bounced off it, and now from the looks of it, we have recovered. So there's your good indicator for risk appetite, really, that markets just, they do this kind of thing. They don't move up in a straight line. You have to have the two-way movement. Of course, it's very, very healthy. If you're talking about silver, you've not had that two-way movement, and that's the kind of thing that just makes you uneasy. And as plenty of people, I'm sure, will point out, well, you could have said that 2 weeks ago, and it's now up another 20%. We're up 35% in the month for silver. So, and again, we're not trying to say it's about to pull back, but it's kind of, well, you don't want to be chasing it. Maybe not such a good idea to chase it up here, essentially.
And if you're already in, make sure you tighten your stops, pay for trailing stops, so guaranteed stops if you are going to leave your desk unattended, as it were.
Yes, don't feel you had to be glued to it every single day, really.
I know some of you do that. I do not. And if you are away on holiday or if you happen to be moving house, make sure you have those risk precautions in place. Do you think it's time, Chris, for the make or break moment for the Buy America trade? I mean, we're on the cusp of the big tech earnings, but we've been talking about this for a while.
Well, yes. Well, I think you mean the Sell America trade.
The Sell America, or is the Buy America trade about to be broken?
Yeah, there was the discussion over the last 2 weeks with Greenland, how quickly that has dropped off the radar, that it would be a revival of this. Of course, the data, and Reuters was very good last week in compiling this, that you had. You should always turn your phone off before you come in the studio.
That's our next big guest here, which I don't want to tell you about.
Anyway.
I'm putting it on top mode. That's Joachim Clement, who is downstairs. Nothing like live television.
No, exactly.
Yes, he's going to come on. I won't tell you what time it, because we've got this, of course, new content catch-up Netflix strategy, which you can watch at your leisure on your train on the way back. But yes, you were saying?
Yes, I was saying. Sorry, I was trying to remember what I was saying now. That there was a lot of talk about Sell America and that Europe would dump US Treasury bonds to put pressure on the US government. All of this is essentially pie in the sky, because the US is just a large part of the bond market, stock markets. You can't get away from it. So if you're a global equity investor, you took all your money out of the US, you haven't got anywhere to put it, essentially. And also that people draw up these lists of this is how many US Treasury bonds Europe holds, but they mistake holdings by foreign companies being held in Europe for European holdings, and also the fact that just trying to coordinate some kind of synchronized dump of US Treasuries would be a nightmare in itself, and also would destroy the value of those bonds. So if you want to sell everything quickly. So it just isn't going to happen. And Reuters data showed that European investors actually increased their exposure to US bonds over the course of 2025.
There you go. And alongside the big tech earnings, Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, and Apple, all very important. We will soon find out whether or not their earnings mean a change of heart from investors in big tech, because don't forget, those firms make up some 20% of the S&P 500, so the impact is likely to be felt far and wide. Thank you very much, Chris, as always. A pleasure to have you on. We shall see you on the trading floor. For the rest of you, do let us know what you are investing in, whether you're changing up, whether you like the buy America, sell America. We'd love to hear it on ask@ig.com, or you can put your comments down here and we'll answer it as soon as we can.